Ladies and gentlemen, is My Chemical Romance slop or not? We have to figure this out. So first, what is slop? We're going to go over that. Second, how do we detect slop? Third, how much of their catalog is slop? And then fourth is going to be, are they talented regardless? And then finally, we're going to use all of that to figure out if you are going to think if they are slop or not and what other people are going to think. So without further ado, let's get into it. So what is slop? Let's look at the music matrix. We have energy from 0 to 11. We have catchiness on the bottom from 0 to 10. If something is less than a 7 in terms of catchiness, it is called slop by people who are not a fan of it. So if you don't like metal and it's not a catchy song, you're going to call it slop. Same with all these genres here. But if it is catchy and it's above 7, it's not slop. What people call it typically. If it's lower energy, they're going to call it pop. If it's higher, they're going to call it rock. Now, how do we detect if something is less than a 7 in catchiness, right? Energy is the easy part. Energy, this stuff is going to make you want to take a little nap, go to sleep. This stuff is going to make you want to dance with nobody like you. And this stuff's going to make you want to fight someone, mosh pit. So, how do we figure out 7 in catchiness? Great question. You're so smart. You should eat with us at lunch. Now, let's go to the catchiness index here. So, on the bottom, here's the thing. Catchiness is determined by a lot of stuff. I'm not going to pretend that I have figured out how to purposely categorize everything exact catchiness out of 0.555 catchiness. No, but what we can do is get most of an idea about catchiness and pretty much get a good starting place with predictability. Tells us most of what we need to know. So predictability is here on the bottom. If something's completely corny, right, like Joe Bonamassa, it's likely to be total slop. It's pretty much guaranteed. If something's completely incoherent, the song doesn't make sense, it goes nowhere, then it's going to be like the Mars Volta songs, slop, almost all the time, right? So stuff off some of the first album of MyChem, though I like that album the best, and it's got some of the best riffs and the most fun stuff, it's kind of in the sweet spot. It does go a little zany, but zany is where Bohemian Rhapsody is. Now, does it always get as high into hit territory? Maybe not, but here's the thing. When you're in the money zone here between Back in Black being balanced and Bohemian Rhapsody being zany, you still have a chance of being just a complete piece of slop. But you could also be something that's like for fans of the genre or for fans of the band are going to like it. You also have a chance of being something that everyone's going to like, a total hit or a total smash hit, right? Now, does this mean that every song that has to be up here had to become a #1 radio single? No. It just means it's hit quality. It could have been, and or it's catchy enough. You know, the catchiness is not the limiting factor. So that's what hit quality means, right? Now, let's actually dig into MyChem in particular. How is their catalog? We know how many albums they got. You know the albums front to back. But what is the actual, distribution of this? So we're looking at basically the ratio of certain qualities, the ratio of hits, of stuff that's for fans, and total slop. And we're trying to see over the catalog, what's the relative, amounts, right? So this is an OnlyFans model. This is a band where most of their stuff is just for fans. They might have one hit, and they don't have much slop, but it's mostly stuff that like their fans are going to get a lot of mileage out of, right? So MyChem fans are going to get a lot of mileage out of their catalog, but not just them. So they've got a distinctly big amount of hit songs. So this is not going to be accurate for MyChem, but it's just to give you an idea of how to read the chart, right? This is not good or bad, right? Is Motorhead, Slayer, or Frank Zappa good or bad? It's like slop or not. It's like if you like the genre and you like what they're them in particular, you like the band, well then no, you have a giant catalog with, to you, what is no slop, but to outsiders, it's all slop. Anything less than a hit is slop, right? So this is where it gets complicated. You know what I mean? So if it's an OnlyFans model, it's complicated. Do you want to marry an OnlyFans model? Hey, it's complicated. Hit or quit, this is also complicated, right? This is an example like Weezer or Queen where they have stuff that's pretty much, if it's going to be listenable, it's either unlistenable garbage or really good stuff that everyone's going to get good mileage out of. So it's like, are they good? Are they bad? You're like, I don't know, kind of hard. It's not obvious, but if something's like this, the classic catalog where it's the Beatles, Metallica, Daft Punk, Rage Against the Machine, where it's mostly albums worth of stuff that's just everyone's going to like, it's super catchy, And if you don't like it, it's because you don't like that genre. Like you specifically won't listen to anything high energy. You're like, no, I'm not listening to Metallica, even though it's a really good song, Enter Sandman, too high energy. I only like jazz. It's like, okay, fair. But then that's you. That's not in general people then. You know what I mean? That's a you thing. In general, the catchiness is sufficient enough. People will overlook genre if it's catchy enough. That's why it gets called pop and rock, right? Like, I know so many people who are like, I don't like country. I listen to everything but country. And it's like, if it's really catchy, Devil Went Down to Georgia, we're like, well, that's not country. It's another subgenre. It's bluegrass or whatever. It's like still bluegrass, country, whatever. If it's a lower energy, genre. But if it's sufficiently catchy, people don't think about it as bluegrass or country. They just go, oh, it's a pop song. Devil Went Down to Georgia. Yeah, it's a great song. Maybe it's a little high energy. So maybe it's kind of like getting close to rock. I don't know. But I guess it's like country. Like that's how people think about things. So if something's really good, hit catalog. Now, my chem, so over here's a 50-50. This is where it's like 3 albums of garbage, 3 albums of all-time classics, 3 albums of stuff that's great for fans. That's like Led Zeppelin, Nine Inch Nails. Where do I put my chem? I'm going to say my chem is probably not even like this. It probably looks like this, except you go down a little bit because there's a ton of stuff that's really great for fans. Basically, there's no slop. If you're a fan, no slop. Or very little relative to like the total number of songs. If they have like 400 songs, let's say, maybe they got 20 that are slop, but it's like so little. Most of it is stuff that fans are going to friggin' love. And then there's a good solid amount of hits as well. So I drew it kind of as a classic OnlyFans. But like for Fans Plus, it's an OnlyFans Plus, okay? Get your subscription. Subscription to OnlyFans Plus. Now, are they talented? This is the interesting part. Because this is where my chem actually gets even more points. Though, I think they have a slightly OnlyFans. Like, if you're comparing My Chemical Romance and Metallica, Metallica has a much more classic catalog than My Chemical Romance. Oh, wow, I have to fix this so you can even have to tape this again, too. Frickin' what the frick. Connor, if you would have done it right, you wouldn't have had these problems to begin with. I'm leaving you. I'm gonna leave you. I'm gonna leave you. I'm gonna leave you. So here we go. We got the talent. So, brand. This is if you see a T-shirt on the rack. Could Kim Kardashian mistake it for clothing brand? Metallica. I love their shirts. Like MCR. Yes, basically, yeah. Super historically relevant. Super present relevant. Album art, merch, green. They get a green. Musicianship. Did people get inspired to learn instruments by listening to their catalog? Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of good guitar parts, especially like Head First for Halos. There's all the stuff where people go, yep, I'm learning the instrument because of that. So they don't get a yellow, they get a green. Songwriting, I would say really good in general, sometimes a yellow, because sometimes you're like, kind of meanders, a little Mars Volta-y, but not always. So overall, it seems pretty clear to me what I would say. Basically, the talent portion means everyone's going to agree. If you just care about, do they have a cool T-shirt at Hot Topic, you're going to say the band's great. If you just care about, do they have good riffs for me to learn as a guitarist, you're going to say the band's great. If you just care about having a good enough amount of songs, or you like the style and having a good back catalog for you to go into, you're also going to say, yeah, they're great. So those people are all going to agree. So it's going to be low controversy. And so here's where we go. How do we figure out if they're slop or not? And what do I think about you? Most people think about what are the top 10 songs that I remember from them and where do they kind of rank here? So we're going to look at the top 10 songs of mine. Yours can differ. But mine, I'd say Head First for Halos, Teenage or Scare, and Mama, we're all gonna die. And Helena, carry on. And then I'm Not Okay. And then Black Parade, Our Lady of Sorrows, Famous Last Words, Cemetery Drive, and The Sharpest Lives. In general, very catchy, but they do kind of start to drop off. Maybe if you put in 20 songs, the catchiness goes down a little bit on average. Not a lot. Maybe down to like a 7 or an 8, right? But the energy stays medium high. You can see a lot of 7, 8, 6. There's a couple songs that are like really high energy, but those ones, I think what you'll see with My Chem is they start to do a thing eventually over time, which is where they, in the beginning, the songs weren't as catchy, but they had higher energy. So the songs would be like, between a 5 and 7 on catchiness, but they'd be between an 8 and a, like a 9 and an 8 on energy. So they'd be kind of in this kind of like proto 7 to 9 kind of rock metal range, right? But they weren't catchy enough to be called rock songs because they would just go on and they wouldn't really have as good of structure as you would like. And then they moved a little bit down into the left here, right? But then they just kind of moved back here. And a lot of bands end up doing something like that. They kind of did this trajectory over the albums. But on average, it still puts them probably around here. And that's kind of what I said, I think, is 7 on energy on average, 9. Now, I'm chopping off all these things when I'm averaging, right? Because I'm just looking at the top 10. And so if the top 10 are kind of in this zone, you would expect it to be, like I was saying, if they did that trajectory-wise with albums, you'd expect to see, okay, chop off the bad stuff all to the right, and they end up right about there. I think I got to end the video. I think my brother's locked outside. Anyways, I'll see you in the next one. So basically, yeah, My Chemical Romance, not Slop. No one's going to say they're Slop. And if they do, it's because they hate you. Like the video, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Let me save myself and you're on soon.